Hello and welcome to another episode of Becco Movies. Why do we need the Ben Affleck's The Dark Knight Returns movie? Well, first of all, because it will be a kick-ass, amazing movie. Second of all, Zack Snyder and Ben Affleck both were born to make this movie. But putting that aside, let's look at the facts. The first thing I hear online when you say, well, Zack Snyder need to make The Dark Knight Returns with Ben Affleck. Well, he's already made that with Batman v Superman, you know. And the answer to that is, first of all, you're a dumbass. Second of all, The Dark Knight Returns has so many other characters in addition to what was done in BVS. I mean, it's not even close. I mean, let's be honest, apart from the mech suit, and that image of Batman basically jumping in front of the lightning, just to give an homage to the Dark Knight Returns, and the suit, the Batman v Superman has little to nothing to do with the Dark Knight Returns. Yes, Zack Snyder did say that he tried to enter as many imagery as possible, insert as many imagery as possible to the Batman v Superman, because he doesn't trust WB. He knew that they would screw him, and he was right, to be honest. So he tried to insert as many imagery as possible, and even some of the lines, like when Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne says to Jeremy Irons' Alfred, "We are criminals, Alfred. We've always been criminals." Even that line, which is taken from The Dark Knight Returns, it is basically what Bruce Wayne says in the animated movie to Superman, when he says, "We're criminals, Clark. We've always been criminals." And you can see that scene from the Dark Knight Returns, the animated movie. He says the line that way. So that's taken from the basically animated movie and the comic, but changed. Okay, so apart from these few homages, or whatever you call them, Easter eggs, this movie has nothing to do with each other. In The Dark Knight Returns, long story short, as they say, it's basically Batman who's retired, Robin's dead, and all this stuff. Superman's the only mentioned member of the Justice League. They talk about the other Justice League members either dead or retired, or I think mainly retired, isn't it? And that's about it. And then you have the obviously Two-Face. That's not in Batman v Superman. That's in Dark Knight Returns. You have the Joker. That specific version of Joker is not in again Batman v Superman, or even in Jared Leto's Joker in Suicide Squad. It's a Joker who kind of went into coma in a way, because when Batman quit, the Joker didn't have a reason to live, if that makes sense. That's the whole point of Joker going into hibernation, if that makes sense. Okay, that movie also had the most important thing, which is the mutant gangs and the sons of Batman. All of them are in the comic, in the animated movie, but not in the Batman v Superman. So don't tell me Batman v Superman is The Dark Knight Returns. This is just dumb and doesn't make sense. Okay, Ben Affleck is a huge fan of the comic itself. Even Kevin Smith, I remember watching a movie where he says he used to sit, or I don't know, rest on my couch and read the Dark Knight Returns comic, and is the main reason he joined the Batman v Superman, because it was, yeah, inspired by the Dark Knight Returns, but also he knew that he wanted to do that movie. And I guarantee you, if you give Ben Affleck the option between the Dark Knight Returns and the DCEU Batman, he would have said, you know what, I want to do the Dark Knight Returns first, then the DCEU Batman. And Ben Affleck is perfect because he looks like the Bruce Wayne from that comic, from the animated movie. By the way, highly recommend watching the animated movie. I've spoken about it a couple of times on X. Amazing score, the voice casting, Jay Oliva, amazing direction. It's a really good animated movie, and it's a long one, so it's 2 parts. So he loves that character, and he's at the same age group of Bruce Wayne in the comics. So why wouldn't he do the character? And yes, he's proved himself in BVS. He can do an amazing, older, grizzled Bruce Wayne. He's perfect, man. And even physically, he looks exactly to the Bruce Wayne from the comics. Okay, and you get Zack Snyder, who wanted to do the Dark Knight Returns, still wants to do the Dark Knight Returns more than anything else. Okay, more than even Watchmen probably, or 300. And he even mentioned that with Joe Rogan. And I think I've uploaded the video at some point on X, where he says, this is what I want to do. This is my kind of top thing to do, is to do the Dark Knight Returns. He could have said, well, I've done BVS. It has a lot of homages, so why would I do it again. So yeah, for this movie, you definitely need Ben Affleck and Zack Snyder. For Superman, I mean, I think it should be Henry Cavill, but again, this Superman in The Dark Knight Returns is a little bit on the evil side, or he's kind of puppet by the, for the American government, whatever. So whether Henry Cavill wants to be the evil Superman again, that's the question. But I think he would make an excellent Superman in that movie. Of course, Catwoman, you can have Carla Gugino, and this brings me to my fan casting for this movie, which I've tweeted this in the past, and I keep retweeting it from time to time just to remind the cast or the movie makers that this is what you can get. Obviously, for Batman, you get Ben Affleck. For Superman, preferably Henry Cavill, like I said. Two-Face, I don't know, for some reason I want to see John Hamm as Two-Face. Maybe someone like, what's the name, the actor who played Breaking Bad, that would be interesting as well. Mutant Leader, you need Dave Bautista. I'm sorry, whenever I see the animated movie Mutant Leader, I see Dave Bautista. He would make a perfect Mutant Leader. And I'll get to Joker. Commissioner Gordon, of course, J.K. Simmons. Alfred, of course, Jeremy Irons. Carrie Kelly, it depends. I used to say that young actress, Sophia Lillis, she looks exactly like Carrie Kelly, but I think you can... The problem is with the, I was going to say the actress who played Guardians of the Galaxy, the redhead, the hot actress, can't remember her name. She would make an excellent Carrie Kelly as well, but she's a little bit older, to be honest, age group wise. Green Arrow, you need Charlie Hunnam. Come on, man, you get the Green Arrow with one arm, because Superman, and you can get like a flashback showing how Superman, kind of lasered his arm or cut it in half or whatever. That would be amazing, man. But for me, the most important thing, without any shadow of doubt, is Joker. If it's a standalone movie, and hopefully they do it as a standalone movie, not part of the Snyderverse, I want to see this just like Watchmen. Just one standalone epic 2-3 hour movie, 4 hour movie, whatever. Even if they have to do it as 2 parts. You have to get William Dafoe. You have to get William freaking Dafoe, man, because it's not just you'll get an amazing Joker, once in a lifetime, experience to get this guy as Joker, who is perfect, born to play Joker. Again, age group, he would make perfect Joker against Ben Affleck. And you would get all the indie crowd watching the movie as well. This is all money for the movie itself. So you need Joker without any shadow of doubt. William Dafoe to play Joker. That would be an amazing, man. Just perfect casting, okay? And when I say BVS team, by the way, I was saying on X that you should get the Batman v Superman team to do the Dark Knight Returns. My advice is get Chris Terrio. You need Chris Terrio for this movie, man. Whether we like to admit it or not, whether it's Snyder or Affleck or whoever, you need a good screenwriter. And Chris Terrio, you can see his effect in Batman v Superman and Justice League. The dialogue was much better than in Man of Steel. Man of Steel was great, but with David Goyer, but not as good as BVS and Zack Snyder Justice League. Composing the music, it's a tricky one, because I think he's composed enough DC score, but for me, nothing beats Hans Zimmer. With all due respect to Junkie XL, what he did to the Wonder Woman score was just unforgettable in Justice League. He butchered that score. And his Justice League score, I'm sorry, it's mediocre, it's average, it's forgettable. The only thing I loved is the Dark Side and the Flash faster than the speed of light score. That's amazing. But his Justice League score, we need like a proper Justice League score to compete with the Avengers score, man. Just imagine like a proper Hans Zimmer Justice League score. I don't think we got that. Even in BVS. Costume designer, again, I think I've made enough tweets on X to know that I love Michael Wilkinson's costume design. It's perfect, flawless. You need this guy. This guy is as important as Hans Zimmer, if not more. This movie will not work without Michael Wilkinson, especially if you're doing a time period with Ronald Reagan as the president. As Snyder himself said, it has to be Reagan, isn't it? You like what he did with Watchmen, with the suits, man. The retro kind of aesthetic of the suits is just amazing. Perfect. Cinematography, I think Larry Fong would be perfect. I like cinematography for BVS much more than Justice League, sorry. Man of Steel is amazing as well, but BVS is just perfect, man. Especially with the action and the nightmare scenes, the IMAX scenes. Production designer, of course, you need Patrick Tatopoulos. Again, he did an amazing job with BVS. For the CGI, it depends. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of CGI in Dark Knight Returns, apart from, what's his name, Superman, I guess, effects and stuff. But you need John Desjardins. He did, again, a really good job with BVS and even Justice League. And you can get maybe ILM to do some of the complicated scenes, Lucasfilm company to do that. So this is kind of behind the scene team. And as I've mentioned on my tweet, anyone who's worked on BVS, they should be brought back to do the Dark Knight Returns movie with Zack Snyder. But like I said, the main thing I would change, instead of Jared Leto, I know he wasn't BVS, what I'm saying is instead of the Snyderverse Joker, I would get William freaking Dafoe as Joker. That would be the cherry on the top, man. We're not just talking indie crowd, almost guaranteed $1 billion at the box office, because it's just an interesting Joker to do. You will also get possible nomination for Oscars if you get William Dafoe. Just imagine him acting against Ben Affleck. I'm telling you, man, for me, that's a dream come true for this movie to happen, especially if it's a proper movie, well made, with a good budget, with Zack Snyder, with Ben Affleck, two essential components for this movie to work, and it has to be released theatrically. And if you do it as two-parter, even better. You don't have to do the whole 4-hour thing, and you get into the same arguments of editing the film and chopping it. We don't want that. We had that with BVS and Justice League. Enough is enough. Just make The Dark Knight Returns with Ben Affleck as Batman, Henry Cavill as Superman, and even better, it has to be, not just better, Zack Snyder directing the movie, and you would get a guaranteed at least 800 million to 1 billion and multiple Oscar nominations, especially if you let Ben Affleck and Chris Terrio write the movie. That would be just, this movie would be a dream come true. And I think this will be Zack Snyder's next announcement. I just have feeling it's going to be The Dark Knight Returns live action. Becco Movies out.